Yeah, good morning, everybody. Today we are going to start a new topic about Helix TWT. Helix TWT. TWT means traveling wave tube. TWT means traveling wave tube. A traveling wave tube, sometimes you need to pronounce twit, TWIT. Sometimes you need to pronounce the TWIT, twit. Sometimes you need to call traveling wave tube amplifier. This means that TWTA. Sometimes you need to call traveling wave tube amplifier. Traveling wave tube amplifier. TWTA, which is pronounced tweeta, TWEETA, tweeta. You need to pronounce the TWTA, traveling wave tube amplifier, like tweeta. A traveling wave tube is a specialized vacuum tube. A traveling wave tube is a specialized vacuum tube that is used in electrons to amplify, is used in electronics to amplify radio frequency signals, to amplify radio frequency signals, RF signals, in the microwave range. A TWT is a specialized vacuum tube that is used in electronics to amplify radio frequency signals in the microwave range. The RF signals should be in microwave range. The TWT belongs to a category of linear beam tubes. The TWT, the traveling wave tube, belongs to a category of linear beam tubes. This means the reflex klystron. Yes or no? The traveling wave tube belongs to a category of linear beam tubes, such as klystron, in which the radio waves is amplified by absorbing the power from a beam of electrons as it passes down the tube. A TWT belongs to a category of linear beam tubes, such as the klystron, in which the radio wave is amplified by absorbing power from a beam of electrons as it passes down to the tube. As it passes down to the tube. Although there are various types of TWT, there are various types of TWT. So from that we have two major categories. From that we have two major categories. First one is Helix TWT. The first one is Helix TWT. In the Helix TWT, in which the radio waves interact with the electron beam while traveling down a wire helix, which traveling down a wire helix which surrounds the beam. Helix TWT in which the radio waves interact with the electron beam while traveling down a wide helix which surrounds the beam. These have wide bandwidth, but output power is limited to a few hundred watts. These have wide bandwidth, but output power is limited to a 100 watts. To a 100 watts. Next, the second category is coupled cavity TWT. Coupled cavity TWT, in which the radio wave, in which the radio wave interacts with the beam, interact with the beam in a series of cavity resonators, in a series of cavity resonators through which the beam passes, through which the beam passes. Coupled cavity TWT, in which the radio wave interacts with the beam in a series of cavity resonators through which the beam passes. These functions as narrowband power amplifiers. These functions as narrowband power amplifier. See that a physical construction of a traveling wave tube. You need to see the physical construction of traveling wave tube. So the major advantage of this traveling wave tube is over some other microwave tubes is its ability to amplify a wide range of frequencies, that is a large bandwidth. Major advantage of the traveling wave tube over some other microwave tubes is its ability to amplify a wide range of frequencies, that is a large bandwidth. So the bandwidth of this helix TWT can be as high as 2 octaves, while the cavity versions have bandwidths of 10 to 20%. The operating frequency range from 300 megahertz to 50 gigahertz. The power gain of this tube is on the order of 40 to 70 decibels. You need to see the operating frequency range of this TWT is 300 megahertz to 50 gigahertz, and the power gain of this tube is on the order of the 40 to 70 decibels, and the output power ranges from a few watts to megawatts. The output power range from a few watts to megawatts. This TWT account for over 50% of the sales volume of all microwave vacuum tubes. The TWTs account for over 50% of sales volume of all microwave vacuum tubes. They are widely used as the power amplifiers and oscillators in radar system. Communication satellite and spacecraft transmission. This will be used widely. Power amplifier, oscillators in radars, communication satellite, and spacecraft transmitters, and electronic warfare system. Warfare system. WARFARE systems. Electronic warfare system. Just need to see the diagram first. What is the working of TWT? So when we switch on the circuit, The cathode starts when we switch on the circuit. The cathode start the emission of electron. The cathode starts the emission of electrons, which is the focusing electrode focus these electrons in a narrow beam. Focus on the focusing electrode focus these electrons in a narrow beam at the center of the tube, at the center of this tube. The magnet is used around the helix in order to produce the strong magnetic field which causes the electron beam to remain in the center. The working of TWT is when we switch on the circuit, the cathode starts the emission of electrons. The focusing electrode focus these electrons in a narrow beam at the center of the tube. The magnet is used around the helix in order to produce the strong magnetic field which causes the electron beam to remain in the center. This is the basic working function of TWT. TWT. And the description of this is, coming to the description of this. Coming to description, a TWT, basic description, yeah.
సార్ మాకు ఓన్లీ ఫస్ట్ స్లైడే కనిపిస్తుంది సార్, స్లైడ్ చేంజ్ అవ్వట్లేదు.
Now?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, coming to description of this TWT. The TWT, the traveling wave tube, is an elongated vacuum tube with an electron gun, which means that a heated cathode that emits the electrons at one end. The traveling wave tube is an elongated vacuum tube with an electron gun at one end. A voltage applied across the cathode, a voltage applied across the cathode and anode accelerates the electrons towards the far end of the tube, and an external magnetic field around the tube focuses the electrons into a beam. A voltage across the cathode, you need to remember, a voltage across the cathode and anode accelerates the electrons towards the far end of the tube, and an external magnetic field around the tube focuses the electrons into a beam. You need to see the diagram. You need to remember the point same again. A voltage, once if you are applying the voltage to this, which means that like a input like this. If you are applying the, you need to see the diagram. A voltage applied across the cathode and anode accelerates. This anode accelerates the electrons towards the far end of the tube, and an external magnetic field around the tube focuses the electrons into a beam. Electrons into this beam. At the other end of the tube, the electrons strike the collector. The electrons strike the collector, which returns them to the circuit. So wrap around the inside the tube. just outside the beam path, just outside the beam path is a helix of a Y. Here we have the helix of Y. Typically, oxygen free copper. This is oxygen free copper. The RF signal, which means that the radio waves, the radio frequency signal to be amplified, the RF signal to be amplified is fed into the helix at point near to the emitter end of the tube. And the signal is normally fed into the helix via waveguide or electromagnetic coil placed at end, which is forming a one-way signal path, a directional cupola. This means that you need to apply your voltage through input, you will get the output from the output port. By controlling the accelerating voltage, the speed of the electrons flowing down the tube is said to be similar to the speed of the RF signal running down the helix. And the signal in the Y causes a magnetic field to be induced in the center of the helix where the electrons are flowing. Depending on the phase of the signal, the electrons will either be speed up or slow down as they pass the windings. Yeah, yes. This causes the electron beam to bunch up, known technically as velocity modulation, and the resulting pattern of electron density in the beam is an analog of the original RF signal. The resulting pattern of electron density in the beam is an analog of the original RF signal, because the beam is passing the helix as it travels, and that signal varies. It causes induction in the helix. Amplifying the original signal. By the time it reaches the other end of the tube. This process has had time to deposit considerable energy back into the helix. A second directional cupola positioned near the collector, receives an amplified version of the input signal from the far end of the RF circuit. Receives an amplified version of the input signal from the far end of the RF circuit. Attenuators placed along the RF circuit. Attenuators placed along the RF circuit which prevent the reflected wave from traveling back to the cathode. The higher powered helix, the higher powered helix, TWTs, usually contain beryllium oxide ceramic as both helix support rod and in some cases as an electron collector for the TWT, for the TWT because of its special electrical, mechanical and thermal properties. These high powered helix tube TWTs usually contain beryllium oxide ceramic as both a helix support rod and in some cases as an electron collector for the TWT because of its special electrical, mechanical and thermal properties. There are a number of RF amplifier tubes. There are a number of RF amplifier tubes that operates in a similar fashion to the TWT, known collectively as velocity modulated tubes. Velocity modulated tubes. The best known example is the klystron. We already discussed two cavity klystron. Two cavity klystron. All of these tubes use the same basic bunching of electrons to provide the amplification process and differ largely in what process caused the velocity modulation to occur. All of these tubes use the same basic bunching of electrons to provide the amplification process and differ largely in what process caused the velocity modulation to occur. The velocity modulation to occur. The klystron, the electron beam passes through a hole in a resonant cavity which is connected to the source RF signal, which is connected to the source RF signal. Source RF signal. Yeah, RF signal. So the signal at the instant the electrons passes through the hole, the signal at the instant the electrons pass through the hole, which causes them to be accelerated or sometimes decelerated also. The electrons enter a drift tube. You need to remember that two cavity klystron, reflection klystron. So in that the electron enter a drift tube in which faster electrons overtake the slower ones, creating the bunches, after which the electrons pass through another resonant cavity from which the output power is taken. Since the velocity sorting process takes time, the drift tube must often be several feet long. So in comparison, In the tube, in the TWT, the acceleration is caused by the interaction with the helix along the entire length of the tube. The interactions with the helix along the entire length of the tube. This allows the TWT to have a very low noise output. And this allows the TWT to have a very low noise output, a major advantage of this design. This is the major advantage of the designing of a TWT. More usefully, this process is much less sensitive. This process is much less sensitive to the physical arrangement of the tube, which allows the TWT to operate over a wider variety of frequencies. TWTs are generally at an advantage when low noise and frequency variability are useful. These TWTs are generally at an advantage when low noise and frequency variability are useful. This is the helix TWT description, or we need to assume that basic TWT, that is a basic TWT and comparison. Then next, coupled cavity TWT. The second category is coupled cavity TWT. Helix TWTs are limited in peak RF power by the current handling of the helix wall. These helix TWTs are limited in peak RF power by the current handling of the helix wall. As power level increases, the wire can overheat and cause the helix geometry to wrap. As power level increases, the wire can overheat and cause the helix geometry to wrap. Due to this wire thickness, the wire thickness can be increased to improve matters. But if the wire is too thick, it becomes impossible to obtain the required helix pitch for proper operation. Means that if you increase the thickness of the wire for improvement matters, but if the wire is too thick, what will happen? It becomes impossible to obtain the required helix pitch for proper operation. Typically, helix TWTs achieve less than 2.5 kilowatts output power. Typically, helix TWTs achieve less than 2.5 kilowatts. Less than 2.5 kilowatts output power. The coupled cavity TWT overcomes this limit by replacing the helix with a series of coupled cavities arranged axially along the beam. And this structure provides a helical waveguide and hence amplification can occur via velocity modulation. This structure provides a helical waveguide and hence amplification can occur via velocity modulation. The helical waveguides have very nonlinear dispersion. The helical waveguide have very nonlinear dispersion and thus are only narrow band. A coupled cavity TWT can achieve 60 kilowatts output power. A coupled cavity TWT can achieve 60 kilowatts output power. The operation is similar to that of a klystron, except that coupled cavity TWTs are designed with attenuation between the slow wave structure instead of a drift tube. Operation is same. The difference is the coupled cavity TWTs are designed with attenuation between the slow wave structure instead of a drift tube. The slow wave structure gives the TWT its wide bandwidth. A free electron laser allows higher frequencies. So this is the description of a coupled cavity TWT. Next one is traveling wave tube amplifier. So why you need to call this TWT pronounced traveling wave tube amplifier or tweeter? A TWT integrated with a regulated power supply RPS. A TWT integrated with a RPS and protection circuits is referred to as a traveling wave tube amplifier. Abbreviation we already know it. Just you need to remember. It is used to produce high power radio frequency signal, and the bandwidth of a broadband TWTA, traveling wave tube amplifier, can be as high as 1 octave, although tuned versions exist. And the operating frequency ranges same like a helix TWT. The operating frequency ranges starts from 300 megahertz to 50 gigahertz. A TWTA consists of a traveling wave tube coupled with its protection circuits and regulated power supply, electronic power conditioner EPC, which may be supplied and integrated by a different manufacturer. The main difference between most power supplies and those for vacuum tubes is that efficient vacuum tubes have depressed collectors to recycle kinetic energy of the electrons, so that the secondary winding of the power supply needs up to 6 taps of which the helix voltage needs to precise regulation. The subsequent addition of this a linearized a linearizer can, by complementary compensation, improve the gain compression, improve the gain compression and other characteristics of TWTA. This combination is called a linearized TWTA. This combination is called as a linearized TWTA. Linearized TWTA. Broadband TWT is generally used as helix TWTs. These broadband TWTs is generally used a helix TWTs and achieve less than 2.5 kilowatts. TWTs using a coupled cavity. TWTs using a coupled cavity TWT can achieve 15 kilowatts output power, but at the expense of narrower bandwidth. Coming to how to invention, we'll get it. How to invention will happen previously, and you need to know what is the invention and what is the development and earlierly what they have to use. We need to know that invention, development and early use. The original design and prototype of the TWT was done by Andre Andy Hofe 1931 while he was working as a doctoral student at the Kellogg Radiation Laboratory at Caltech. His original patent device for method of controlling high frequency currents was filed in 1933 and granted in 1936. His original patent, a device for and method of controlling high frequency currents, was filed in 1933 and granted in 1936. It was taken 3 years. The invention of TWT is often attributed to Rudolf Kompfner in 1942 to 1943. In addition, Niels Lindenblad, working at OCA, a Radio Corporation of America, in the US also, filed a patent for a device in May 1940 that was remarkably similar to Kompfner's TWT. Both of these devices were improvements. Over Hobbs' original design. As they both used the newly invented precision electron gun as the source of the electron beam, and they both directed the beam down the center of the helix instead of outside of it. These configuration changes resulted in much greater wave amplification than Hobbs' design They relied on the physical principle of velocity modulation and electron bunching. Komfner developed his TWT in a British Admiralty radar laboratory using World War II. His first sketch of his TWT is dated November 12, 1942, and he built his first TWT in early 1943. The TWT was later refined by Compton, John Peace and Lester Enfield at Bell Labs. Note that Compton's US patent granted in 1953 does Seidhoff's previous work. By the 1950s, after further development at the Electron Tube Laboratory at Hughes Aircraft Company in Culver City, California, TWTs went into production there, and by the 1960s, TWTs were also produced by such companies as the English Electric Wool Company, followed by Fernand in the 1970s. On July 10, 1962, the first communications satellite, Telstar 1, was launched with a 2W, 2 watts, 4 GHz RCA designed TWT transponder used for transmitting RF signals to Earth stations.
Hey, you jump. Wrong way.
Syncom 2 was successfully launched into geosynchronous orbit on July 26, 1963 with 2W. It means that 2 watts, 1850 megahertz Hughes designed TWT transponders on one active and one spin. Coming to uses, what are the uses we have? Just you need to remember TWTA, traveling wave tube, transmitter amplifier. Traveling wave tube amplifier are commonly used as amplifiers in satellite transponders where the input signal is very weak and the output needs to be high power. So in those applications and in those areas you need to use this commonly. A TWT whose output drives an antenna is a type of transmitter. Is a type of transmitter. TWT transmitters are used extensively in radar, particularly in airborne fire control radar systems and in electronic warfare and self-protection systems. In those areas, you will use this air drives and antennas. The circuit that drives the control grid, which is usually referred to as a grid modulator. A grid modulator. Just you need to remember for today's topics what we are discussing. Just you need to remember what we were discussing. The list of contents are a description of TWT, a basic description of TWT, what is the comparison of TWT and cavity resonator, and the next one is coupled cavity, TWT. After that, we had discussed a traveling wave tube amplifier. After that, invention, development, and early use. After that, uses. So these are the today's contents. So before that, we know what is the working of TWT. You need to remember the working of DWT. When we switch on the circuit, the cathode starts emission of electrons. The focusing electrodes focus these electrons in a narrow beam at the center of the tube. The magnet is used around the helix in order to produce the strong magnetic field which cause the electron beam to remain in the center. This is the working of TWT. Working of TWT.